running up the score.
Jerry Napoleonello.
The Cowboys made 2 mistakes in the last 3 years. One was letting Dak take over for Romo and not having Romo come back in. And 2 was releasing Des Bryant.
Superstition, screw that. Let's pick this bad boy up and walk it around the ice.
Kevin Donlin.
The NFL, like every league, is a business. And in a business, you have a job. And let me tell you something. You always have a boss. No matter who you are, you have a boss when you're in the organization. The New York Jets, you know what they need to do with their second round pick? They need to just start taking it and lighting it up on fire.
This is Running Up the Score, your one-stop spot for all things sports. Join in on the conversation by calling in at 605-562-7085. Now here's your hosts, Jerry Napoleonello and Kevin Donlin.
All right, it's time to run up the score. We are back. We got week 3 coming up. We had a week off. We didn't get into week 2.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely.
We didn't even pick
I'm
week 1.
I'm gonna blame you for that one. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one over here with the busy schedule.
Sorry.
Guys everywhere.
I am sorry.
Can't be in the studio.
Enjoying the
if you
youth.
want to call it a studio.
Damn right it's a studio.
Yeah, I mean. But, so we're going to talk about some interesting things that came up. I mean, we didn't get to talk about any of the Antonio Brown stuff, which we could have just went in on with everything that was going on.
I mean,
I think the whole thing was coerced. I thought the whole thing was...
It was short, sweet. I mean, you literally just go to the point, and honestly, what happens is that literally... We're good. We're good here. It was just a joke. Obviously, what he did was just not right for the Oakland Raiders. I mean, they gave up a lot for him, and it just shows that for nothing. Basically, they gave away these draft picks for nothing, and it's quite it's an embarrassment on him because you're a professional athlete, and you literally are you're literally just showing basically the kind of personality that you have, and you don't want to have that kind of personality. You don't want that in the locker room, and it's very short and sweet, just like that. I mean, the New England Patriots are seeing it. You see Tom Brady talking it nonstop about the questions about Antonio Brown. The same thing goes for Bill Belichick. These guys don't want to answer questions about this, man. Tell me about Sunday. Tell me about the New York Jets. But it's not going to be that for New England. They'll be getting questions all day long. It also helps the fact that they're 19-point favorites over the New York Jets.
They're actually 23.
Okay, it went up. That's really cool.
Yeah,
obviously, the Jet fan is not looking good right now. My prediction in the beginning of the season, I don't think I've ever been more wrong in my life. But unfortunately, obviously, everything going on with Sam Darnold, and for the New York Jets, I guess this team does need another piece. There's more that needs to come for the New York Jets. Adam Gase is very demanding, of course, and you're seeing it with a bunch of guys being benched. He might want to slow his roll at some point. But this could be a very short tenure for Adam Gase if he doesn't get this going. I mean, injuries happen in the NFL. The good coaches find ways. They find ways to win. They've always found ways to win. So, when it comes down to it, Bill Belichick, these guys, Antonio Brown's a great talent. There's no debating it. And in order to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, New England needed someone like Antonio Brown. But the questions and the distractions, we'll see what happens.
Sometimes
it's a long season.
It's not worth the headache and the questioning.
Big headache that we've had going on in New York media, obviously, has been the debate of whether or not Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, I mean, it first starts off because he just got benched. We were waiting for it to happen. Nobody thought that it was going to happen this early. Not even me, not Kevin, not anybody really in the New York area or everywhere else. But it happened. It's week 3. Daniel Jones is now the quarterback, and I think now you can't go back to Eli.
Oh, no, you can. Daniel Jones can get hurt, and then you go back to Eli.
Yeah, obviously. That's the only way I think you go back to Eli. I don't think you can, if Daniel Jones is playing bad, I don't think you can go back to Eli. I mean, it just can't happen. So now it's just Now you hear the question, is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? Now, right then and there is where I will tell you that, that's a problem. Like, if you have to question if a guy has 2 Super Bowls, if you have to question that he is...
Well, the point is
if
that
he's a Hall of
there
Famer
should be
or
no
not,
question.
There shouldn't be a question, but that's the problem. He's not that good of a quarterback for you to say, sure shot, Hall of Famer. He's got 2 rings. That should be right then and there. No doubt in your mind. No doubt in your mind. But there is still doubt in people's minds that this guy... I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. To be totally honest with you, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
The facts don't lie. I think that the Green Bay Packers in their history, I think only have like 5 losses at home in the playoffs. 2 of them would be Eli Manning. Tom Brady should have 8 Super Bowl rings if it weren't for Eli Manning. This league would have been very, very different without him in it. So, I mean, in his defense, most quarterbacks that win Super Bowls are going to be Hall of Famers. And it's just a known fact because it's a long season.
Listen, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I know it is.
It shouldn't even be a question.
But it is a question.
The fact that Joe Namath is sitting in the Hall of Fame right now after 1 Super Bowl, ring, and my man was not even a 500, record type quarterback, and neither is Eli. Eli is actually, I think, officially 1 game under 500 for his career.
He's 500. He's 116 and 116. He is 500. Now, just kind of going into it, with a quarterback like that, Hall of Famer, Eli Manning has only really cracked the top 10 in QB rating 1 time. And I don't consider his 2004 season his first season because he only played 7 games in that year. He came in for, I think it was Kerry Collins. So I'm not considering that. So I went from 2005 to 2018. These are years that he played every single snap other than 2018 where I think he missed 1 start. So
I'm not a Giant fan. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was 1 start.
Really
so basically, he cracked the top 10 in QB rating in his 14 years that I have here 1 time, and that was 2011. And his QB rating that year was 92.9. He hasn't been good. I mean, he's 23rd, 18th, 25th, 15th, 11th, 17th, 7th, 14th, 35th, 15th, 13th, 22nd, 25th, and 21st in QB rating.
You talk about the QB rating, but, when it comes down to it, any quarterback that is given the appropriate amount of time in this league will be more than exceptional. They really will be.
He was in the top 10 in interceptions 11 out of those 14 years. He was 2nd, 5th, 3rd, 21st, 12th, 1st, 8th, 10th, 1st, 9th, 7th, 5th, 7th, and 16th.
Well, you also have to put into perspective here is that there's an immediate effect of his QBR based on the interceptions.
Well, absolutely. And also his completion rating.
I think what builds a quarterback more than anything is that how can you pick yourself back up? Any quarterback in this league can throw an interception. I've seen tip balls get picked off and all this kind of unlucky things happen to a quarterback. It's how you were able to respond.
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt about it that Eli probably had the worst of games, but when the games really counted, he got wins for this organization.
But we can even go into that, too, because, he had the 2 Super Bowl runs, okay?
One of them was every game was on the road.
Well,
you're not playing in domes every night. You're not playing. You're playing in Green Bay, where the running game is important, and managing a football game is just as important as any kind of QB rating that you're going to point out.
Also, what I'm talking about is, I think he made the playoffs 7 years out of his 14. We'll say.
I'm a Jet fan, so that I'll take that from Sam Darnold.
But
I'm on the negative trend on that one right now.
The 2 Super Bowl runs were the only runs that he got past the first round. All the other times that he went to the playoffs,
it wasn't just
he was
him.
knocked out in the first.
It was never just him.
Absolutely, and that is where I want to go into. Okay, because we always talk about the quarterback. Now, first of all, just a side note, and it could just be my selfish way of going by it, and I think you know where I'm going. You give a Super Bowl to Tony Romo, is he a Hall of Famer? Without a doubt in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay,
But
that's
then,
all I want to know.
But then you
really.
point the finger at Jerry Jones.
Absolutely.
And you point the finger at Jerry Jones continuously
And you know what?
on this season.
He knows.
And I know Dak Prescott has been incredible.
Yeah, he really has.
But the supporting cast right now has never been great for the Dallas Cowboys. This is probably the best overall team.
This is the best overall team.
But now you're
going
to pay Dak Prescott for a couple of years, and there's going to be plenty of players on your team that should be signed to long term.
All right, but
they're not going to be.
Listen, I'll go into this now. Every single offensive lineman is going to be with the team through 2024. That's huge. You're going to sign Amari Cooper to a long-term deal. So you'll have him probably through 2022, maybe, 23. You have Zeke now until, 2027, 28, or something like that. You'll have Dak Prescott probably till 2026, 27. So really, you have Jalen Smith. You have to sign Leighton Vander Esch. You sign them too. That's huge. Obviously, Jalen Smith.
Now you have money lined up on
But
about
now,
7 or 8 players, and barring any injuries, because this is the NFL,
you also have DeMarcus Lawrence signed too.
dead money.
Which is huge. But the Cowboys now, coming into next year, they will be in the top, at least in the top 10. I can't remember exactly which one. In total cap space. Top 10. Which is crazy to me. But, when you're talking about these contracts and the way that they structure them and stuff like that, somehow Jerry Jones figured out a way to get to the Cowboys to be in the top 10 in cap space next year. Which is huge. Huge. Because now you could maybe give a deal to.
Right now you're looking at Dak Prescott not signed. You're looking at a bunch of guys that are not been signed yet.
Absolutely.
That need to get contracts, and then majority of that cap space that you're looking at is gone. And now you're looking at 2 cornerbacks that I've never heard of before, because you're gonna have to pay a cornerback $10 million a year if you even think about having a World Series. I mean, a Super Bowl team.
Well,
World
you have
Series.
you have Byron Jones. Whether he gets signed or not, I kind of figured he would be the oddball out. I don't know if he'll be signed. It's questionable. But, before we even go, totally off to the left, we were talking about Eli Manning being a Hall of Famer. Your answer.
My answer is that, yes, he should absolutely be a Hall of Famer. There's no debate here. I mean, New York media wants to debate it.
Though.
There isn't.
I don't understand.
If Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame, then every quarterback that has ever won a Super Bowl should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's rightfully so.
That's the problem, though.
It's not
so
a
we're
problem.
gonna put Brad Johnson in the Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame because he's won a Super Bowl. We're gonna put a guy like Trent Dilfer in the
We're
Hall
talking
of Fame.
quarterbacks that gave a team a consistent
that's what
winning
I'm
for
saying.
a very long time.
That I
like you
understand.
said, he's made the playoffs a lot of times, even though they were first-round exits. That's a lot of wins there.
Absolutely. But you know what? The knock on Tony Romo was that he couldn't win the big one. He couldn't win a big game.
Yeah,
which
he
is
couldn't.
which is false. But that's not here nor there. Obviously, this is
Well,
it's just an easy argument for me because I'm a Cowboys fan.
He made his share of mistakes, and he'll be the first one to admit it because Tony Romo was that kind of guy. He'll be the first to admit he made a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely.
You can't make those mistakes if you want to be a Hall of Famer.
He was also put in positions with the teams that he was given, put in the position where he was the best player on that team. And he had to get to
He was the most knowledgeable. And
he had to get that team to a winning score. I mean, basically that's what it came down to. If Tony Romo was not on those 8-8 teams, that team would be a top 10 pick.
I'll tell you, Eli Manning didn't start
draft.
making this extensive amount of money until after the Super Bowl wins. Now, when they first signed him to these ridiculous contracts where he was making an absurd amount of money, I was not a fan of it. Just like I won't be a fan if Dak Prescott winds up being a big-time player.
But that's the thing. We
and a
can't
big paid player,
We
I should
can't
say.
even argue with that because it's the way the market comes down to. Like, there's no way of us, arguing that. That's it.
But
just
what
comes
I'm
down
saying
to
is
where
that
the
when Eli
quarterback-
Manning was winning Super Bowls, he wasn't a ridiculously large player.
No, I know.
He wasn't getting paid a lot of money.
Well, when
you
you
could
have,
surround him with a team.
and the other thing is, for him to be a Hall of Famer and stuff like that, he was never the best player on any of his teams. Never.
No, of course not.
He was never even a top 5 player on any of the teams.
And what, you're going to tell me that all those years, Tony Romo was the one that was doing this for the Dallas Cowboys?
Absolutely.
Well, Dak Prescott came in and went undefeated for how many games in a row? I mean, this team was filled
But
and ready
it was
to go.
also it was also he was handed a very good, very, very, very good offensive line. Romo got that line with about 2 years left in his career.
And whose fault is that? Then? Whose fault is that?
That's a 110%.
That is the Dallas Cowboys.
And Jerry Jones will say, he says that his biggest regret as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys was not to get Tony Romo a Super Bowl. That was his biggest regret, and he said it.
I don't blame him. I would regret it too.
I mean, the guy, and it's sad that guy will not get into the Hall of Fame. With the numbers that he put up and what he did for the Dallas Cowboys for the 11 years or 12 years that he was on the Dallas Cowboys, it's sad. It really is sad. But again, we're moving more towards the Cowboys. I'm trying to keep it.
We're just trying to put a comparison here. As your argument is that if Tony Romo is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, then Eli Manning shouldn't. And there's no argument there because there's a big difference there. This guy found a way to win 2 Super Bowls. You can argue Tom Brady is the most knowledgeable person on his team. He finds a way to win the game. He doesn't make mistakes late.
No, I know.
It's what makes Tom Brady Tom Brady. It's what made Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning made those mistakes for a very long time. Found a way to win.
Yeah.
And Peyton Manning did not have the best teams around him. He really didn't. And credit the New York Giants for what they were able to do for Eli Manning. But Eli Manning did what he needed to do to win games. And he was a very intimidating quarterback for about 3 or 4 years. And we all know that little area of what I'm talking about. And, the New York Giants offense was no doubt one of the most intimidating offenses in sports.
Yeah.
Now, Plaxico Burress is a great player, and obviously, barring him ever walking into, a club one night and accidentally firing, a firearm, they would have won another one. And that is my absolute belief. And, Eli Manning, he would get the job done. And when you're able to get the job done as consistently as he was able to for a good 4 to 5 years straight, now it wasn't for 13 years.
Yeah.
But he got it done. And, I mean, when it comes down to it, I'm a Jet fan. Joe Namath is sitting in the Hall of Fame. Joe Namath probably doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, but he's there. And it's the same thing's going to work for Eli Manning.
My question is, last one before we even get into the picks. If Brett Favre doesn't win that one Super Bowl that he won, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he's a consistent winner. He won a long time. Eli Manning was winning for a long time. 4 or 5 years straight of winning will get you there.
Would you argue if they were to give Tony Romo a gold jacket?
Hell no. That's a hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it every day. I watch what Tony Romo is able to do with his sportscasting. It's incredible. And let me tell you, guys like Tom Brady, guys like Brett Favre, guys like Eli Manning, they know the game like that as well. Coverages and what a team's trying to do to you. These players, it's being able to perform based on what a defense is trying to do to you. I heard something the other day, and this is completely off topic, but it really just goes into perspective. O.J. Howard, and some of you guys do own him in fantasy, and obviously I feel for you. You got a good matchup against the Giants, probably a last chance start for him. At this point, you're not going to get a better matchup than this weekend. But the coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had put it the best way, and they were like, O.J. Howard has been struggling. He hasn't been able to get the ball much, and the coach is very simple with it. He goes, well, he hasn't been open. I expect my quarterback to throw it to the open man. And defenses are going to lean towards someone of that size. O.J. Howard is a big boy, and he's very capable of catching a football. Now, who's going to intimidate you more? Mike Evans is a very good player on the outside. Godwin's a good player on the outside, and so is Howard. But obviously Godwin and Mike Evans find ways to get themselves open, Godwin especially.
Yeah.
And if O.J. Howard can't find a way to get open, or if the coverage is too tight as a quarterback, you're not trying to make mistakes in this league. You're not going to force the ball to someone's hands to get the production, because if you start throwing picks as the quarterback, guess what? Jameis Winston, he's already felt it once. You'll be sitting the bench, no problem. This coach on Tampa Bay will have no problem benching
coach.
You.
Very good coach.
Yes. Bruce Arians is very good. And he is not one of those coaches that are going to let things push.
Crap.
I mean, it's the same thing with Adam Gase right now. You're seeing this in a coaching standpoint. Players getting upset. If you don't throw the right things on film, and when you're watching it in practice day in and day out, you're going to get ridiculed for it. Yeah. Now, if Jameis Winston tries to force a ball to O.J. Howard and it gets picked off, guess what's happening to him all week at practice? He is getting ridiculed. Absolutely. On the basis of what happened. So there's a lot that goes into the game of football. And obviously it's decisions like that make great quarterbacks. And Tony Romo made great decisions for years. Eli Manning made great decisions for years. And that's really what it comes down to. Eli Manning is a Hall of Fame quarterback on the basis that he made the right decisions, and he also made the right decisions in the biggest of games.
Absolutely. I mean,
it just really doesn't seem like it should be a debatable thing.
It shouldn't. And that's where I have to point it out to everybody that
But I understand what you're saying with Tony Romo, and I'm dropping keys. I'm all over the place.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that we're actually questioning is somewhat concerning when we're talking about a quarterback that has 2 Super Bowls. That we're actually having the conversation of.
Well, New York media is finding we'll find anything to talk about.
It's not even New York media though. It's all over. Like. It's a question on every radio station right now. Obviously, it's on ours too, but
it shouldn't be. It's a waste.
But I
heard this debate on another radio show. I'll be honest, it's getting switched.
Be breezy.
And it is all over. You've been listening to Running Up the Score on SportsCastr Live. We run up the score on sports radio. For more Running Up the Score, go follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at RUTS Sports.